Twitter.
Yeah, I just found it interesting. He had like the same like nickname as I was.
All right. We're recording, by the way. Welcome to another episode of Hoosier Nerds Podcast with your hosts, Mikey, Tim, and the two Chris's. We
Welcome.
got some... I don't know why I just feel off today.
You shouldn't. It's football season, boy.
I know. It feels weird that we actually got sports back. Well,
I know.
real
It's so
sports.
great.
Well, we'll talk about that later. We'll make some picks. So, did anybody else see Tenet this week other than me and Chris?
No, I decided to be a bro and watch football Thursday.
Yeah, I get that.
It's been out for a week and a half.
I was working.
Well, that's the only time I kind of considered watching it, and then
All I can think of with Tenet is Doctor Who because David Tennant and Harry Potter. unless David Tennant is the star of Tenet, I'm really not interested.
No, it's
You're
it's
that
like
big
a
of a
safe.
David Tennant fan?
No, but David Tennant's just awesome. He's probably the best doctor, and he's a great Barty Crouch.
I will give you that argument all day long because I don't watch Doctor Who.
I haven't. He was the best doctor and the only doctor.
I haven't seen Doctor Who in probably like 2-3 seasons, but the 2 or 3 seasons with him in it were fantastic.
I haven't watched since Matt Smith.
They were
Now,
what
I
nabbed me at
could
Doctor
argue
Who.
that Dr. Emmett Brown is better than Doctor Who. but
Yeah,
That's all I got.
All
Dr. J maybe too.
Let's lead this off with the Tenet review. Let's try to be as spoiler free as possible, Chris.
Gotcha.
I make no promises because you know me. I just get
All right,
talking.
so spoiler: David Tennant is not the main character.
Spoiler.
Exactly. That's
The
Anybody
main
wanna
character.
know
The main
before they
character
go
is John
in-
David Washington, who is Denzel Washington's son, right?
Yes.
All right, Chris, you want to lead us off?
That movie's a mess.
Oh, dude.
It's it is. I think he's trying. So it's Christopher Nolan, right? He did Inception, right?
And Batman.
Yeah, but his Batmans were good. But Inception was kind of a mess too. But it's kind of like a time traveling movie. So he keeps going back and forth, and I was so lost the whole movie because I couldn't figure out what they were doing and how they got to where they got to, and it's a mess. I don't even know where this guy came from, this Tenet. Plus, I don't know if he died did he die in the movie and come back to life? I don't know. The only plus that I saw out of it was the role played by Robert Pattinson, who is our next upcoming Batman. Guy is spectacular in the film.
He sold me on his upcoming
Are you talking about the vampire?
Yes, I'm telling you, I thought
Vampire.
the same thing. Sparkly vampire is not going to work. That guy, he's a big guy. I didn't realize how tall he was.
Yeah, I mean,
And he's probably big, he's bigger than Christian Bale, I would say, in his Batman role.
He's quite handsome too.
He is, and he's not. He doesn't. I was like, "What they doing, Sparkly Vampire?" But his role in it has sold me on him playing Batman.
Same. He's got the chin for it too. I gotta admit.
The action sequences in the movie are really good, but to me the movie is a mess, and I wasn't.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know. I probably wouldn't watch it again. Let's put it that way.
me not being a boomer and able to follow the plot,
I didn't
really
have to
enjoyed.
rewind many times.
I really enjoyed it. It was hard to follow at some points, I'll admit, but
so it was hard to follow at some point.
at some points, not all points, but once I got home last night and sat there and decompressed, I understood what was happening.
It breaks every Back to the Future hot tub time machine rule out there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because those are totally, the rules on time travel.
Well, those are the rules of time travel.
But it was a good movie, great action sequences. The story was actually pretty good once you understood what was happening.
The only rule they kept from those movies are don't interact with yourself.
But yeah.
But you can do it with your mom.
Yeah.
The grandfather paradox.
I still think Futurama has the best like solving of the grandfather paradox. Just sleep with your grandma.
But it's kind of a mess, and I got it, but it took a long way to get there. Let's put it that way.
And I know from like watching the trailer, at least, like I couldn't even like get a glimpse of like what the plot was almost. Like I guess I had to read the uh, the description of it just to get a glimpse of like maybe what's it about. But I think I haven't seen the trailer in a while, but just from watching the trailer, it's hard to determine like really like what's going
Well,
on.
the trailers don't really
Two-
give you a lot, which I
Yeah.
like. You go
To
in there kind of
quote-
blind.
To quote a
This is
friend of mine,
74.
to quote a friend of mine, it goes a long way around the ass to find the hole. Let's put it that way.
74 on Rotten Tomatoes, a 7.9 on IMDb, and a 69 on Metacritic.
Nice.
Yeah, but let's not forget Out of Africa won Best Picture, so
No, but
you can't go by that.
John David Washington was amazing in his role.
He
as-
really
as
was.
The on IMDb, his name was the protagonist, and I guess that was his name because they never really gave us his name. Did
Yeah,
they?
I was just looking at that. I'm like, what?
So he's not Tenet,
No, his
What-
name on IMDb is the protagonist.
but they
Yeah.
in the trailer don't they promote him as being Tenet?
Well, I don't want to say anything because these two are
Okay.
here, and everyone who's listening who hasn't watched the movie.
There's really, aside from Robert Pattinson and John David Washington, which this is the first thing I think I've seen him in. This is a
He's only been in 10 things. His biggest thing is
this
Ballers.
is like a D squad. I've never heard of any of these people before.
Oh, Black
he does
Knight.
Michael
Claims-
Caine is
Wait, hold on.
the Demplague. I'm gonna butcher this name. It's an Indian lady, Demplague Kampadia. She's
Oh.
I was looking at her stuff, and she's a big Bollywood actress.
It's got Kenneth Branagh and Michael Caine, and you calling them?
well, I said
Are you
aside
kidding
from
me?
Michael Caine. I don't know who Kenneth Branagh is,
you
but I
kidding me?
know Michael Caine.
Ugh.
Again, aside from those 3 or 4 people, it's really who's who of who's on this list.
Kenneth Branagh is one of the best actors out there.
Would you suggest people go watch the movie, Chris? Because I would. It's a really good movie.
Yeah,
It's
if you're
2.5
into
hours.
if you're into sci-fi, it's not horrible. I'm not saying it's a terrible movie and that it sucked. I just said I probably won't watch it again, but yeah, go watch it and get lost, and it'll make you think. That's for sure.
I'm probably gonna go see it again today with my dad because he wants to go see it. Now I'm gonna have to sit there for 30 minutes after the movie explaining what happened, but
It sounds
Guilt.
like something you need to watch like, at least twice just to understand it better.
I don't
mean,
need to see it.
there was a sequence I was laughing at it because I was like, "Geez, this is funny."
Oh. The only thing that's hard for me to go watch it, it's 2.5 hours long.
It
It goes
honestly
pretty fast.
flew
Yeah.
by.
Yeah.
It's like the first 5 minutes of the movie is action packed. It's like
Yeah.
boom, dropped right into it. Let's go.
Okay,
Um,
watch it.
so let's move on to some news. The news. Did you guys see that Star Wars news that came out that they were toying with Obi-Wan being Rey's grandfather?
I did.
I saw that.
Last second vision.
And it was just come off of like a just an interview with Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley, yeah.
I would not. They would really have had to sold me on this because freaking Obi-Wan was such a hardcore like fanatic.
Yeah.
For,
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, he was really into like the Jedi stuff.
Mhm. And there's only one character he would have even been with, and that would have been the Countess Sabine, and she died in spoilers. She died in Clone Wars.
What?
This
Well,
was like
I
10
mean-
years ago. This episode
I gotta-
came out, so
I gotta watch Clone Wars.
Yeah, I can't. Even if they would have, I'm glad they didn't go that direction. I mean, I wasn't happy with her being a Palpatine anyway. I'd like to have seen her been part of more of a Skywalker type of character, but I can't see her. I'm glad they didn't say, "Oh, hey, guess what? Now Rey's is Obi-Wan's granddaughter." I'm glad it didn't head that direction.
I actually read a weird thing. It's not really off topic. When Obi-Wan is fighting Vader, and ultimately pretty much commits seppuku, he smiles at Luke and them escaping. And it was like, why does he smile? Blah blah blah. And there was like a bunch of different like reasons. And the one that I liked the most was that was the first time he had seen Leia and Luke together since the like first few minutes that they were born. So it was Obi-Wan smiling at the two of them because they had finally come back together, and I thought that was kind of nice. But no, that's just it. That's my 2 cents on Obi-Wan being the best Jedi ever.
Second best.
And I think
Who's the first?
Yoda.
I think the
Oh,
only thing cool
okay. All right.
that would be the only thing cool about Rey being a Kenobi would be I saw this comment would be like the full circle moment where like a Kenobi would save a Skywalker, being fuck, what's his name?
Again, I've been saving the Skywalkers for
Saving
all
Ben.
eternity, apparently.
Right? Ben would. I don't know, but yeah, I mean,
Obi-Wan saved Anakin when he was young. Luke saved.
yeah.
Or Obi-Wan saved Luke. And
Okay.
then Rey saved. Or Ben saved Rey.
Well, no. I mean, I thought Rey would save Ben just because, like, from the dark side.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than like Kenobi wanted to, but he never did. I mean, Obi-Wan wanted to, but he never did with Anakin.
I see what you're saying. As in, like, they finally the Obi-Wan's finally saved the Skywalkers from the dark side.
Yeah, Kenobi. Yeah.
I don't know. The more time that's passed since Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah.
the more I've disliked that movie.
I don't know why it took so long for like this to come out, though. I guess it wasn't that important, but it seems like something.
Like I said, they try and again they fit in too much of a backstory into a few films, so they figure they got to well, let's release this now, and this was our imagination, and let's just maybe it's just better to just leave the imagination to the fans of what they want to believe, the fan theories. I prefer that, although I don't always agree with fan theories. I would rather see that than
they're enjoyable too.
They're good discussions, yeah.
Yeah. And then like I just said with that fan theory, like it's a very small part, and fans take that little part and they make it feel like it's worth something.
Well, I mean, remember the fan theory was that Jar Jar was a Jedi, so.
I still ascribe to the Darth Jar Jar theory that it was actually going to be a thing.
He is a Looney Tunes character.
There
he
was
is not a
such
freaking
backlash
Jedi.
towards Jar Jar
God.
that Lucas had to change it.
Misa gonna stop a war by just bumbling around like Bugs Bunny in a.
No, he started the war.
He started. He's like, oh, I fall off of this thing and I stop a war now. No, it doesn't work that way.
Without Jar Jar, would there be a Naboo? It wouldn't.
Nope, not at all. It'd be a droid planet.
Yep.
Bunch of clankers. No, but going back to the sequel trilogy, this is like my whole. I've said it before. I don't know if it was here or somewhere else, but they need to have like an overarching like vision. Like JJ should not have left Last Jedi. He should have stayed for Last Jedi also. So his vision doesn't get overshadowed by Ryan Johnson or whatever his name is stupid ass vision because then JJ had to come back for Rise of Skywalker and try to fix all the issues that was in Last Jedi. And there were just too many issues that he couldn't fix them all.
Well, I agree with that. But okay, so Lucas directed A New Hope, right? But I
Yeah.
believe that Empire was directed by not Boardwalk Empire. It was directed by Irving Kershner. So there's two directors there. So who directed Jedi?
Which Return of the
Return
Jedi?
was directed by Richard Marquand. So there's 3 different directors for the first 3 Star Wars movies.
Yeah, but how much of a say did George Lucas still have in the storytelling?
Well, we don't know. Well, Lawrence Kasdan wrote the screenplay.
True.
And George Lucas, was it how many? There's 3. It was Lucas's story, but Kasdan and Lucas did the screenplay for Jedi. And then for Empire, it was Lee Brackett, who was a female, by the way. That's female Lee Brackett. And Lawrence Kasdan wrote Empire. So as a female, and I'm being very serious about this, why doesn't she get the love of empowered women? I mean, she wrote one of the greatest Star Wars films of all times.
Because nobody cares about the writers; it's all they care about the actors and directors.
And that's true, and that's sad. And then of course Lucas wrote Star Wars. So there wasn't any continuity essentially on the first 3 films. However, Jedi is the weakest of the 3.
Yeah, but then again, you can look at the Marvel movies, and they all had what's his face on top of it all. Who was the head? Tom or Filoni? Not Tom Filoni.
Enrico Palazzo. Nobody gets the Enrico Palazzo joke.
No, Kevin Feige.
Oh, yeah. Kevin Feige, yeah.
Yeah, he was like the head of Marvel movies, and had his vision.
Come on, we watched The Naked Gun, Chris. Enrico Palazzo was supposed to be the guy that sang the national anthem.
Yeah.
And Leslie Nielsen went out. That's Enrico Palazzo.
I did not know that Kavanaugh guy, or whatever his name was, is the president in Wild Wild West.
Oh, Kenneth Branagh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The dude is a great actor, I'm telling you. He's just one of those great actors you don't know who he is, but he pops up all over.
I was gonna say, I don't recognize half of his stuff, but it almost looks like he's never really the star. He's just like, oh hey, I'm here.
He's always number 2 or 3.
He was Perot on Murder on the Orient Express. Hercule Poirot. And isn't going to be Perot on, I think, the new one that we saw the previous 2, Death on the Nile.
Death on the Orient Express was really good.
He was Gilderoy Lockhart in Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter.
Who?
Gilderoy Lockhart in
He was
Harry
in
Potter.
Avengers. He was in Dunkirk.
He was in Thor. I don't know who he is in Thor, but he's in Thor.
He's an Asgardian something. He's been around he was in Valkyrie, which is a good movie.
Why are we talking about him?
He just brought up. Kenneth Branagh.
Talking about him before.
Random off topic, but okay.
Ooh, Dead that's a good movie too.
Let's move on to the Walking Dead news. I'm happy for this news and kind of sad at the same time.
I'm happy.
I have not watched one episode of the
Walking Dead is being canceled, or is ending after season 11.
Well, maybe I have watched one episode of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I've seen a few episodes, and it's time it dies.
It should have died a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
But they are doing a Daryl and Carol spinoff. So that'll be 3 spinoffs. Because they got, Fear the Walking Dead, the one that takes place like 20 years in the future or whatever. I forget what it's called. And then now this Daryl and Carol spinoff. And I don't know about you guys. I don't care about everything after the zombie apocalypse. I want to see like during the zombie apocalypse, like right when it's starting.
I'm really curious just if there's a cure. That's the only thing I care about. It's
Yeah,
like
a
my
bullet to
only
the head.
question I've ever had is if there was some kind of cure to the like there has to be an end to the Walking Dead. It can't end with, oh, by the way, zombies overrun Earth and this is life now.
And my biggest problem with The Walking Dead is those bodies are falling apart. What muscles are moving those bones? Or is it just all the skin and muscle going to fall
We
off
can't
and then the
start
skeleton?
talking science with zombies. We'll never get out of here.
But when did you stop watching Walking Dead, Mikey?
The season before Carl died.
Same. I think we stopped about the same
I
time.
feel like the
Spoiler.
last season,
It just
the last
yeah, it
season most
just
people saw was with like Negan and that
yeah
famous bat scene.
that was I
That
think
was
that
the
was the last
last
season.
good season coming from somebody who doesn't even watch Walking Dead, and I know that's where most people left.
Well-
It just got away from the zombie part. I think. I mean, they always had it in there, of course, but it was always humans versus humans, and I don't know. I just didn't find that
While we're
interesting.
fighting each other,
Yeah.
we got an
The
invasion.
zombies turned into just Deus Ex Machina. They needed an
showing up
escape, and all of a sudden there were
all the time.
zombies. But my biggest problem with Walking Dead was the first 2 episodes were pretty good. The middle episodes sucked. The last 2 episodes were pretty good. And I remember watching Talking Dead or whatever with Chris Hardwick, and he was really struggling to hype people up for some of those episodes to talk about it.
Mm.
And I thought it was hilarious. All
I
right.
kind of plan on watching it sometime. I guess maybe it's on Netflix, but I doubt it. It always seems interesting to go back and maybe see it, but then again, it's like, no, don't think so.
I mean, if we go into quarantine again,
Yeah.
I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah, that's about it.
We go
Did
into
we-
quarantine again. It may like turn it into reality. You might just have to use that for reference.
Right? I watched every season of Walking Dead 5 times. I can survive. Did you guys watch? Did everyone watch the new Dune trailer?
Yes.
I think I've watched it 5 times, to be honest
Same.
with you.
Really?
I've showed a few people it. I've watched it just for fun. It looks. I'm just upset that I'm probably gonna be disappointed that I'm not gonna get all of the answers I want in this movie.
It's gonna tank. That's my prediction.
Yeah, it's gonna tank. I'm not even. I'm excited for the movie because the original was amazing. The books are really good, but and the games,
Nickel
they
for
got
every
some good
time
games.
it said the books were good.
The book is always better than the movie.
Yeah,
That's
But-
just a given.
That's because you put more in a book.
my biggest problem with this is I don't feel like the modern audiences want to watch this type of sci-fi.
They're not. Plus, it is coming out. Okay, so okay, so it's coming out December 18th, right?
Yeah,
So a week later is the release of Top Gun.
Man.
Once that movie comes out, it's gonna bury Dune. I'm telling you.
Yeah, all the boomers are gonna crawl out of the
Doggone
woodwork
right.
to
We're
go
gonna be
see
at their
this
opening
movie.
night, just like we were for the original.
everyone in their bomber jackets and
Heck yeah, I gotta get I'll have mine out of storage by then. I gotta get me some Ray-Bans, and maybe I'll finally cut my hair because I haven't cut it since like February.
Homeless Chris.
I have my jeans and white T-shirt on, and some aviators, and my bomber jacket.
are you gonna ride your motorcycle, your crotch rocket there?
Not in December.
Oh come on now, you got to if you want to go full cosplay.
I don't even have a crotch rocket.
Especially if it's snowing, you kill yourself on a crotch rocket.
I was more of a Iceman guy myself anyway, so I feel the need for speed. and it's gonna top out over, some giant butthole worm in the desert. It just, I'm sorry. Top Gun's gonna. I'm so excited for Top Gun. I cannot wait. It's the most anticipated movie this year for me. I think.
It's gonna bring him
Since we-
back.
Considering we haven't been to the movies in 8 months anyway, but even before then, I was anticipating this movie coming out.
I was gonna say, was that race car movie this year or was that last year?
A race car movie.
Last year, Ford vs Ferrari.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ford versus Ferrari. Yeah, there was too much. I know the real story behind it. Watch the 24-Hour War. It's a documentary about what really happened, and there's just too many. Hollywood took too many liberties with the story.
Someone actually the other day said to me, "Rubbin is racing," and I almost it was a patient, and I almost like lost my mind. Be like, that's not real racing. I will pull up the podcast right now. Oh no, wait, I can't pull it up. But you know what I mean.
Yes. That was a bogus line in a movie. That's to do with
You said
racing.
it, and all I could hear was you
Oh
in
my
in the
God.
back of my mind. That's not.
That's one of the worst
Little
racing movies.
Chris
I
pops
even-
up on my shoulder.
Out of a dozen racing movies, Days of Thunder doesn't even pop up in the dozen. Ricky Bobby is better of a racing movie than Days of Thunder is. But I digress. Back
What were
to
you gonna
Dune.
say, Mikey?
Well, I mean, going back to Dune, just watching the trailer, like I knew it looked familiar, so and I found it. It was Blade Runner 2049. This got the same director.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was wondering
Yeah.
why. I was actually thinking of that.
Who's
Why it
directing it?
reminded me of something.
Dennis Villeneuve or what? I
Oh
don't know.
yeah, Villeneuve.
Yeah,
yeah.
Villeneuve.
Villanueva.
Yeah.
Oh, he did Arrival too. Sicario. He's done a lot of good movies.
Yeah, I was like, man, that looked really familiar to like some cinematography, but there's a guy different cinematographer, but still, it looked pretty similar.
I think it's gonna get to so because I'm a boomer, I admit it. Wah wah wah. So I watched the original Point Break last week because I had nothing else to do, and I think with I get what people are trying to create here, but I think that it's getting and Tenet was this way, and we've already discussed there's too much of a backstory for Star Wars to stuff into other films, and I think Dune is going to be the same way. Is that some of the stuff is getting so far out there with the sci-fi? I think people are just going to get sick of it, and they're going to want a basic movie.
If they pimp that, if they pimp the fact that there's an Alaskan bullworm in this movie, they'll have people coming out. They'll have fans coming out to see this movie from it.
I've seen the memes for that already.
I use Point Break as it was a blockbuster film when it came out. It was number one at the box office, but it's basic. Surfers rob banks, steal the money so they can fund their endless summer, and the FBI goes after the bank robbers.
I mean,
we need more movies like this. I'm telling you, and there's going to have to come a
point.
Movies
don't need to be super successful when they first come out, because I know some of my favorite movies are movies that tanked in the theater.
But the problem is you have these films spending hundreds of millions of dollars on these films, and they're not making their money back.
My basis was Wild Wild West.
Oh, yeah, was it? Yeah,
I love
Wild West was great.
It's a great movie.
It has nothing to do with the basis of the TV show.
Who cares? It's a good movie.
Because
I can't believe
so many
Will
people
Smith gave up
so many people watch that TV show and they go to that film and
now
nothing.
And now nobody remembers the TV show at all, and all they remember.
I never knew there was a TV show.
Oh my God, the TV show was so good.
Because the movie over time turned in like people were like, "What were we thinking? This is a fantastic movie. Maybe."
It made its money back. With the worldwide gross.
Did you guys hear Will Smith gave up Neo in the Matrix for that?
Yeah.
That's nuts to think about.
Well,
we might not have Keanu Reeves because of that.
No, he'd
Thank
still
God.
50 years from now.
I don't know. Still had John Wick though.
50 years ago.
Keanu, but give Keanu his credit. He made movies like that. He made really good movies that, like you said, they weren't blockbusters, but they were really good films. And
Well, it helps when you don't age and you're immortal. So
I know
yeah,
he's a freaking vampire.
I mean, for real.
I can't deny
Him and
that.
Nicolas Cage just walking around the Earth for the past like 600 years.
Tom
Until I
Cruise is
see
the same way.
Until I see evidence he's a vampire in my eyes.
But
I mean, we should
I
give
just-
him
I-
some
I-
dead man's blood. See if he hurts him.
has the budget been released for Dune yet? Do we know what it is?
Give me a second. I'll look it up.
I've been trying to find it, and I cannot find what the because
mean,
it's not on IMDb.
It looks like a lot.
Well, that's what my theory is. It looks like a lot.
220 million.
I bet you it's going to be over $200 million budget.
Well, it would help if I actually typed in the right one. 200 million.
200 million?
Big.
I don't know if it's going to make it back.
According to Screen Rant, of course. It's not going to make that back.
It's not going to make it back.
Maybe
So-
eventually.
So
but-
how many good movies could you make with that $200 million budget?
Probably about 4 or 5.
Okay, see what I'm saying? I would rather have 4 quality movies than that. Do you see what I'm
I
saying?
have to admit, in the trailers, the graphics are amazing. The special effects, like all the ships and like the shields they have on, look really cool.
Tenet
So-
Tenet, for the record, Tenet had a $205 million budget.
Golly.
Wow. Well, they were like globetrotting in that movie.
Yeah, they really were. Yeah, they're in Estonia, they're in Mumbai, they're in Italy, they're in Denmark,
Yeah.
they're in the UK.
All right. Let's move on to The Boys season 2. I haven't watched it yet because I'm waiting for it to all to come out.
How
I
can
just
we
binge
talk
watched
about
it.
this if you haven't watched it yet?
Well, you guys, I don't
I
care
need
about.
to. I am
There's
really
only 4
interested in watching
episodes.
season 1. I finally downloaded the Amazon app to watch stuff on. So
So-
The Boys will probably be the first thing that I watch.
Mikey, what are your thoughts?
It's still just as gory, probably even more, which makes it really cool.
It was really good. It's a very
yeah.
good episode.
And I feel like you're starting to see the burden that the powers have on these heroes. I mean, you can kind of see it towards the end of season 1 on A-Train, or even throughout that season.
Yeah.
And in the Deep, you can see it now. I mean, towards the end of the season 1, you could see it.
Well, even with
Right?
what's her
Yeah.
name? Who's the blonde, the hot blonde chick? What's her name?
Oh.
Oh.
Star. Is it Star?
I start.
Hold on.
It's not Starfire.
I got this. I'm looking it up. Keep
Black
talking. I'll
Noir?
find it.
You see a lot more
Starlight.
Black Noir, which is nice.
Good.
But you can kind of see his reflection on that and whatnot. But yeah, and even Homelander, you can see he's starting to crack, and
Yeah,
it's
but
it's
he
hilarious.
plays a douchebag so
Yeah.
well. He's
And I
my
also
favorite
like-
character to hate.
And I also like, because you see a lot more Juan Carlo Esposito too. He played Gus Fring, and he's like, he runs Vought or whatnot. You see a lot more of him, and he's so great in this.
I'm a
He's
big fan
so
of Jack Quaid.
Who's Jack
So-
Quaid? Is he the? Yeah. Okay.
He's Huey.
the guy whose girlfriend got ran over.
Right. Yeah.
Is he the news?
What? No, he's
Huey
he's
Lewis.
just the Huey, not Hugh. Not Huey, not Huey Lewis. Huey with a GH, not with a EY.
What?
So,
How?
Jack Quaid, he's very, he voices the guy from Lower Decks. Jack Quaid does.
Yeah. No.
He's Boimler, in Lower Decks. But that whole cast in The Boys is really good. They mesh well, and Anthony Starr is the perfect a-hole Arrogant jerk off superhero.
So how many episodes are there right now?
4.
Just
Oh
4.
wait, yeah,
No, is there 4
yeah, there's 4 right now.
of season 2 or
Yeah.
All right. Well, I need to watch it, but I'm trying to wait for them all to come out because I don't want to have to wait a week.
Well, that would be awful. Just like the old, it's like 5 years ago when you had to watch TV and you watched, a TV show and had to
I
wait.
know, right?
That's
Guess
awful.
what? It's not 1910 anymore, Chris. It's 2020. I want everything at once, right now.
It's my money and I want it now.
Exactly. GJ Wentworth style.
Why don't you go protest that?
All right. So totally. Let's move on to the next show because I know I'm enjoying it, but I know Chris isn't. The other Chris. Raised by Wolves, the HBO show. I'm really enjoying it, but I have to admit, I think I'm more interested in the world they left than this new planet. It's 4 episodes in now. No, it's actually
yeah. The new episode probably comes out today, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it comes out today at some point. It's got a really good concept. I see the issues that Chris has with it, but I'm really enjoying it so far.
I like how they threw a little bit of realism in there and made the planet Kepler 22b.
Mm-hmm.
She's just essentially another jet jaguar flying around, screaming at people.
She's got sonic weapons. That's why she's screaming.
Ugh. That's her weapon. Is she just ah? I mean, really? That's it?
I mean, it works.
I mean, wasn't she popping people's skulls with it?
It's just, again, I think it goes back into the too much of an elaborate backstory to be telling in 4 or 5 episodes.
I get that. There's way too much. They're trying to pack way too much into 5 episodes.
That's so they can save the last 5 for craziness.
Do you think, and I just thought about this, do you think they try, episode 4 is up now. They try to pack all of this in
Episode 5
to these episodes. No, it is 5 episodes. Because they don't know what the life of this show is going to be.
They're probably trying to give, with most shows, I would say, like these newer ones that come out. I feel like they really only have 10 episodes to prove themselves.
Right, but do you think that they're that concerned about a shelf life for their TV shows that they're trying to pack too much in to the early episodes? Because we didn't have this with Game of Thrones. You didn't have
Game of Thrones had a lot packed in those first few.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones also wasn't coming out on a streaming service. It was coming out on TV.
Okay, but still, you still only had
a different audience.
You still only had 10 episodes.
A lot of these shows are just trying to be the next Game of Thrones.
Right, and it's failing miserably.
Game of Thrones wasn't even that good to begin with, but go ahead.
Are you kidding me?
All right, that's a conversation for
another day. My God!
Just like Walking Dead, everybody hopped on the bandwagon for the first season, and then it was like you couldn't walk 2 feet without hearing some stupid person talking about Game of Thrones.
For the record, you freaking damn millennial. We knew Game of Thrones season 2 was coming out, so we binged watched season 1, not knowing what it was about. We just saw the trailer for season 2 and like, wow, this kind of looks cool. So we binged watched season 1, and now because your generation has taken over everything, and we can't wait a whole week for another episode.
Our generation has been taken over for like 20 years. Okay, deal with it.
We can't wait a whole week because that's the beauty of that was the beauty of it was you watch the episode, which I was sold in the first 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. So let's not say that.
And I was sold in the first 2 episodes of Raised by Wolves.
Typical boomer says Game of the Thrones. Go ahead.
I didn't say Game of the Thrones.
Go ahead.
It kind of sounded like it.
It sounded like it.
We can go back and we'll listen to it. We have Game of the Thrones over here.
That was
go ahead.
That was a slip. I don't call it Game of the Thrones. But you had a whole week to talk about that episode, and you're like, okay, so what's happening next? And I mean, think about it. With the Red Wedding episode, everybody talked about that whole week
South Park
after.
did it better.
I know, and it got freaking spoiled for me, and I'm still pissed about that.
Got spoiled on South Park.
No, not on South Park. It got spoiled because I had to wait a day to watch it.
Well, how did you get it spoiled?
Because they were talking about it in one of my classes.
Oh.
And I literally turned around and told them to
That's
shut up.
because your generation can't keep any secrets here. You know what? If
I want to talk about
if
when my
Empire
friends
came out now,
around.
everybody would know that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father before the friggin' movie was released.
Like when I'm watching like I'll be like watching like a football game or something at work, and somebody will be like, "Oh, I'm taping it so I can watch it at home." I'm like, "That sucks. I want to watch the game, so I'm watching the game here. You don't have to listen to it.
Well, I mean, a game's different.
Point your ears a different direction."
Well, I agree with that. Turn off your phone if you don't want spoilers. But I just Raised by Wolves has not. It just doesn't grab me. I'm sorry. I wish it did. I was hoping it would. I'm dying for another series. I mean, I guess I got The Boys. I mean, The Boys grabbed me in the first few episodes. It takes 2 episodes to grab somebody, and I think with that, it's a niche TV show. It's not something that everybody's going to gravitate towards. Meaning, Raised by Wolves.
Raised by Wolves is like a show I would expect.
Not everybody has HBO Max though to watch Raised by Wolves as opposed to Game of Thrones, which everybody can watch.
Not really, because you still had to have HBO. But it was easier to have.
Everybody had HBO. Everybody has HBO, pretty much. I would say.
I only got it for Game of Thrones.
I got it for Game of Thrones, and I don't mind the NFL shows or whatnot.
Well, I say that because I mean it crosses. Okay, so when Game of Thrones was out, I would go to my favorite restaurant, and because I eat the same restaurant every week, and I was discussing that episode with the waitresses, and the waiters and the waitresses, which means Game of Thrones crossed maybe Game of Thrones was just special, but everybody watched that show.
Didn't matter who you were. Everyone liked Game of Thrones.
Right, and I just think that I think
almost everyone liked it.
I think right. I just think this Raised by Wolves is it's the sci-fi people, which is great. I have no problem with that, but I just don't. It just kind of slow and boring to me, and I think we're just trying to fit too much into the first 3 episodes to really grab the average viewer. Is what I'm trying.
Give me Spartacus over Game of Thrones any day. Can we just this all I could picture now is what's his face? George R. Martin in the South Park episode. Where he's like, and the pizza's coming, I swear.
Get out of my garden!
The pizza's coming for shut up, I'll take a shit in your garden. Oh man, those are 3 I love that
episodes.
They're so funny. It's the Red Robin wedding.
The Red Robin wedding. That's awesome.
How come every time you're in my garden, you're talking about betraying somebody else? Shut up, old man.
So there
South
we go.
Park's the greatest show in human history. Changed my mind.
I can't because I kind of agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chris. Let's move on to sports and to Jimmy Johnson going to Indycar. We'll finish it on football.
I agree. Okay, so this is really big news, honestly, because NASCAR is supposed to be the greatest racing in the history of the world, and no other racing compares. But Jimmy Johnson is a 7-time NASCAR champion. He's a Daytona 500 winner, I believe. Is signed a 2-year deal with Chip Ganassi Racing to run road and street courses in the IndyCars starting next year. And
so, from somebody who was an Easterner, I didn't know there was a difference. I thought racing was all one. I thought it all fell under NASCAR. I didn't know that.
No, that's you poor
the
summer
issue.
Child.
Right, that's the problem with. Thank the media, where NASCAR is king. So NASCAR, they run mostly ovals, and then they run a few road courses. They run Watkins Glen, they run Sonoma, and they got a Roval, which they've turned a Charlotte Motor Speedway into a road course kind of.
Like I always thought, like the Indy, the Daytona,
No, no, no,
all
no.
those other
NASCAR is a
300s,
sanctioning
500s.
body. NASCAR is
This
National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing. You have Indycar, which is based out of Indianapolis. Those they run the Indy 500. That's Indycar is a sanctioning body. You have Formula One. Formula One's a sanctioning body. NHRA, National Hot Rod Association. That's drag racing. So all forms. You have USAC, which sanctions sprints and midgets, and you have the World of Outlaws. Those all run on dirt, and sprints and midgets run on
There's
dirt.
a ton of
So there's
there's a ton of
different
racing.
sanctioning bodies
okay.
for different types of racing.
Racing is huge over in Europe.
Racing is huge everywhere. It's huge in Brazil. The
Yeah.
Brazilian has
Everywhere but
The
America.
U.S. is like the only country where racing isn't huge.
Well, it's pretty huge.
It's huge
But
if
it's
you're in
not-
the right areas. Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
like a good
Right.
example is my mom's half of the family. They're all racing and no other sports. They don't like football. They don't like basketball. They don't like baseball, hockey. It's just
Well,
NASCAR. So when I
okay.
would go over, that's what would be on, and I'd be like, "Are we kidding right now?"
Okay, so basically, so for a while before everybody decided that NASCAR was the greatest, NASCAR was very southern based, and it is southern based. It's based out of Daytona Beach.
And like
So,
it was for like Central too, Southern Central.
well, when it started, it was based in the South. So you had more, we called them booger eating morons. And then, so because stock cars very basic, they use a jack and to jack up the cars, and they still have 5 lug nuts and they ran carburetors. And then you moved up to IndyCar. IndyCar, those are specifically built race cars. They're not based off of stock car was based off of, you win on Sunday, you sell on Monday. That was the theory behind stock car racing. With Ford, GM, now it's Toyota. So IndyCar basically, plus NASCAR are fenders, and they have window. They have it's a car. IndyCar are open cockpit, and until this year, they put a windscreen over it that you can't see the driver, and it's not really open cockpit, but it's open cockpit, which means you can see the helmet of the driver. And it's open wheel, which means all 4 wheels are exposed. So it's a lot. They go faster. It's a lot more dangerous. Jimmy Johnson, after an Indy 500 champion was killed in 2011, Jimmy Johnson has been talking about going to IndyCar racing for years. Growing up, his hero was Rick Mears, 2-time IndyCar champion, 4-time Indy 500 winner. But he promised his wife he would never race on an oval in an IndyCar. Hence, IndyCars race on super speedways like Indianapolis. They race on small ovals, and they race on road courses and street courses, which means they put a racetrack in the middle of a city street. So next year, Jimmy Johnson will be racing on the road courses and the street circuits in IndyCar, which is a huge crossover. We haven't seen anybody do this in years, other than the Indy 500.
I think I've said it before, but I quit watching NASCAR when they went from the cars actually looking like stock or like cars to them all looking the same. Because you could tell the difference between the GM and the Toyota and the Ford, but now it's like they all use the same body kits.
They do. It's a spec series. It's just like IndyCar. IndyCar uses the same chassis built by Dallara. NASCAR, it is a spec body, and the only difference is the stickers for the headlights and the taillights.
Yep.
So kind of takes the stock out of stock car racing, which honestly NASCAR has been losing fans. They can't plug the hole in that dam fast enough, and they've kind of let rules take over. A little absurdity. You got to have the race finish under green. You've got to have overtime, and there should be no such thing as overtime in racing. You go to see a 500-mile race, it ends at 500 miles. It doesn't go over because the fans need to have a green flag finish. Now that's starting to trickle over into IndyCars because this year's Indy 500 finished under yellow.
Now, by green flag finish, you mean
where they race to the finish. Green flag meaning that they're full speed. If it finishes under yellow,
Yeah, under
They
caution.
want NASCAR fans. NASCAR has decided all their races they have to try to finish under green. That's starting to trickle down into IndyCar, where fans are upset that races are finishing under yellow. This year's Indy 500 finished under yellow. Well, why can't they red flag it? Why can't we go into overtime? No, it is the Indy 500, not the Indy 500, not the Indy 505 or 510.
I was gonna say the 502.
Right. You can't do that. It's absurd.
That'd be like
And-
adding 30 seconds to the end of any sports game. Or hey, instead of
Well,
9
I mean,
innings,
they have extra
eight,
innings. They
10.
have, but in football,
but
they
there's
have
a
one overtime,
difference.
and it's done.
Yeah, when you're tied or something like that.
Right. But there is no tie in racing.
But unless you're looking at a quantum finish, in which case you would be changing the outcome by measuring it. Hashtag Futurama.
Actually,
there'd only be one way of winning, and it'd be in first.
right.
There's no
Yeah.
tying.
Right. It's so. But it is huge news, Jimmy Johnson. Whether I don't even know how much of the media has been promoting it, but it is a pretty big deal that you have a NASCAR champion wanting to come run Indy cars. So looking forward to next year.
And
sure.
I know you mentioned like he's been saying he wanted to do it for years, but is there another like motivation behind it? Like, does he just want a new challenge? Because he's won several races. So
yeah, I think that's what it is. Plus, I think he's always, for a long time, it was always easier to get into NASCAR than it was IndyCar because you needed the money to back it. I mean, he's been racing for 20-something years. So like I said, I think it's always been in the back of his mind, God, I really want to race IndyCar. And he's just put his, he's, like you said, he's won 7 championships in all these races. I want a new challenge. So if I can get a ride in an IndyCar, it's just something I always wanted to do. Why not go do it? And the fans are going to embrace him. NASCAR, you always had people love Jeff Gordon and hated Dale Earnhardt, or vice versa. You can't like in NASCAR, you can't like more than one driver. That seems to be the thought process.
Yeah.
In IndyCars, I mean, my favorite driver is Ryan Hunter-Reay, but I've got probably 4 or 5 other guys that I can root for that I have no problem with winning a race. I'm not going to boo them for winning a race.
Like Connor Daly.
I love Connor Daly.
Yeah, Indiana guy.
You guys should like Connor Daly.
Of course I do.
He's a gamer.
Oh yeah.
He's a huge gamer. So Connor Daly's a guy to root for. Yeah, Connor's good. So, we're excited for IndyCar fans are excited for 2021. We're hoping to see some NASCAR fans come over, some Jimmy Johnson fans, kind of build that fan base, and get IndyCars a little bit more popular, just simply because of one driver. And I welcome that with open arms. Come from the dark side, join the light side. So there you go.
All right then. Let's move on to the final thing. Unless Tim's got something.
Oh no, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say let's move on to football, and football's back. Let's make some picks on games we're gonna be watching.
I have the list in front of me.
Go ahead, Tim.
I don't.
Well, I was like Seahawks, Falcons. Probably Seahawks for me. Jets, Bills. Probably Bills.
Yeah.
Bears, Lions. Probably the Bears because I just saw Kenny Galladay's not playing. Packers, Vikings is a toss-up.
Yeah, it is a toss-up.
Pats, Dolphins. I'm assuming the Pats are gonna kill him. I mean, I'm excited to see Cam. I want to see Cam play with the Pats.
So what makes you think that? Who is it? It's
Pats, Dolphins.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes the Dolphins have their number.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Where's
it's
that?
finished a couple years ago.
It's division. Eagles, Washington. Probably the Eagles. Washington doesn't know what the hell's going on. I mean, again, though, toss-up. Because I could say Washington doesn't know what's going on, but Eagles are a dumpster fire, so.
Right.
Panthers, Raiders. Yeah.
Who's the quarterback for Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah, it's Bridgewater.
For the Panthers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Colts Jaguars. I'm gonna pick the Colts.
I got the Colts.
See, they can't
at
win in
minus
Jacksonville
7.5.
though.
I mean, Jacksonville just lost Leonard Fournette, so I mean that should help them
The
a little
Jags
bit.
are tanking. And there's no
Oh yeah,
ifs,
they're
ands, or
they're a
buts about
dumpster
it.
fire. They're a rolling dumpster.
They're tanking for Trevor Lawrence.
Browns, Ravens.
Browns, Ravens.
Ravens
Ravens are gonna
probably.
murder them.
Nope, I'm picking Cleveland just.
No, I think Cleveland's gonna put up a fight. It's a division game. Bengals Chargers.
I'm interested in that game because I want to see how Joe Burrow does.
I think Joe Burrow is gonna be a good quarterback.
And the Chargers ain't got Phillip Rivers anymore. Who's the Chargers quarterback?
Gerard Taylor.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna pick the Bengals.
I mean Tyrod Taylor.
I say Gerard. Yeah, Tyrod.
Yeah, I was
49ers,
like, who the heck?
Cardinals.
Cardinals, Niners.
Niners.
I don't know,
want-
Kyler Murray. I really like
Yeah, I
Kyler
think-
Murray, though.
I think the 49ers just lost Debo for the first 4 weeks of the
First
season.
4 years, rip.
First 4 years.
4
Debo's
years? Oh my God!
And the Cardinals were really getting into the swing of their
Yeah.
offense last
I think
season.
Cardinals
towards
are
the
gonna.
end.
I think Cardinals gonna win that game, or at least make it. They're gonna beat the spread.
It'll be a game,
Yeah.
but I don't think they got the offense to keep up with 49ers defense.
Steelers,
Yeah.
Giants.
Steelers.
By what game does Roethlisberger get injured this year?
6.
Yeah, I would say like 3 or 4. But yeah, he's gotten some bad luck.
Titans, Broncos. That's a weird game.
Broncos are going to be sneaky good this year.
No, they're not. Plus, they just lost what's his name. They're number one.
Yeah, but they still have Bradley Chubb.
They're
Von
no, they
Miller.
lost their
Von Miller, yeah.
yeah, Von Miller. Yeah, he gone.
But
so
they still have Bradley Chubb.
they ain't that
Yeah,
good.
but
They got
it's
beat
not
by the
good
Colts last year, guy. Dudes, come on.
And then, last but not least, Cowboys, Rams. I'm gonna pick my Cowboys team, but it's gonna be a rough
You
game.
didn't say Saints Bucks, did you?
No, you didn't. It's going to be Saints. The Tampa Bay,
Tampa Bay.
the Tampa
Oh, yeah,
Bay
I
Buccaneers.
skipped them.
The Tampa Bay Gronkaneers.
Hey, point by Pat McAfee right there.
I don't know. That should be a good game.
It's going to be a good
I'm-
game, but
I'm excited to see Tom. I'm becoming like more of a Tom Brady fan now. Now that he's not on the
I mean, I'm a-
Patriots, but
You
I'm
know
a
what?
fan of Tom
I've always said
Brady,
this.
just
I've said
can't
this.
eat the bats.
I've never liked Tom Brady, and
No, you
but
can't.
the more I watch his off-field actions and the way he is like the nicest guy in the
Yeah.
world. They had this. I saw there's like this video of like they let kids into press conferences at the Super Bowl, and they had let kids ask questions. And this one kid asked Tom Brady who his hero was, and
yeah,
he
I remember
he
that.
started breaking up. He's talking about his dad. And then some other kid is, how do you respond to people that hate you? And Tom Brady's response was perfect. He's like, well, first he's like, we don't hate people. You can't hate people. That's just something you can't do. He's like, but he set an example for this kid. I mean, this kid's gonna remember that forever, not to hate people, based off of what Tom Brady told him. He's like, you can, you still care for those people. You understand they may not agree with you or they may not like you, but you can't hate people back. You can't use that word. That shouldn't be part of your vocabulary. And I have so much respect for Tom Brady for the way he handles.
I don't use off-field actions for
Yeah.
the judge. There, I like Tom Brady for his. I mean, I don't really care what he does off the field.
my
all
biggest
about
problem with the Patriots have always been the
The
assholes.
sport.
Well, we know they've cheated and they didn't have to, and that's the sad part of it. So
Tom Brady had a great interview with Dax Shepard on his podcast this week. If you guys want to listen, it's pretty good. Like he talks about everything really, how
Did
he
you see
grew
his-
up and stuff. And
We
Did you
here
see
at
his-
Hoosier
his-
Nerds do not promote
his
other
golf-
people's podcasts.
well, that's
You
a big
promote Pat
podcast.
McAfee all the time. That's a lie.
Well, did you see the golfing
Uh,
when he was golfing with Peyton Manning?
Yeah, that was really good.
That was great.
The match part 2 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So
Anybody got
so-
anything else or?
I have some.
Oh, the Cowboys in their ugly and against
Yeah.
the Rams in their ugliest uniforms in the NFL. We did not pick that game,
Yeah, we did. We talked about it.
did we?
Wait,
Oh,
Cowboys
the
uniforms?
Rams.
Rams.
Oh, I'm like,
Have
we
you
have
seen their
white
new
and
uniforms?
blue
It's
uniforms. How
horrible.
can they be ugly? They're like that's the only thing I hate about my Cowboys team is the fact that we can't get good jersey colors. Every other team has
Dude,
these ridiculous
simplicity
color
is.
rush.
So you know what? This is what somebody pointed this out because I saw it on Twitter. How all these teams are changing their uniforms.
I'm
Simplicity works. The
I'm
best
not
selling,
looking
the
for
best
crazy
selling,
colors.
the
I just
best
want
selling
a
uniforms
full
out
blue.
there. No,
I
no,
want
hold on.
full blue. That's
The,
it. You
the
have
best
full
sell.
white.
No, not full blue. That's awful.
Yeah, no,
White.
they have full white, and I
No.
want full blue as an opposite
The most
to every other
popular.
team has crazy color rushes and
Yeah,
all
Colts.
the
Colts is
15,
full blue on their color rush.
15 jerseys.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not a
Half
fan.
the teams
Tell you,
have 2 color rushes.
simplicity works. The basic uniforms of the Bears, the
Seattle's got the
Browns,
best
Seattle has
uniforms.
the worst uniforms.
Okay, Boomer, you can.
No, I like their blue, the dark blue ones with the neon highlights.
They
and
need to go back to the blue jerseys with the silver pants, and
the bland.
those were so cool.
They can't be blue and silver because that's Cowboys colors.
No, they were
They
blue
have
and
to have
silver. They've
neon.
been blue and silver forever.
Oh, they have that neon yellow color.
God, it looks like a.
Tim,
It looks like a. No.
Tim, are you ready to see how Big Mike's gonna coach them boys?
Yeah, it should be interesting.
They're gonna
So,
lose.
I mean, I liked him as a coach. I think he did good
Yeah,
with
I
Green
think he's a
Bay.
good coach.
The problem with
So.
him in Green Bay was he was there for too long and like lost control of the locker room or whatever.
Sure.
What were you gonna say, Tim? Before all the uniform
That
talk?
in what was it 1, 2, 3, 4 days, 4 or 5 days, Super Mario All Stars is coming out. Can't wait.
Okay. Well,
All right, you want to take us out, Tim?
I also want to say Raiders are going to Super Bowl this year. Prediction
Oh
right
my
now.
god. Yeah.
All right, we gotta end it after
We're
that.
gonna end it before we lose all of our fans.
Raider Nation.
Raider Nation is a dumpster fire. What are we on? We on Twitter? I always forget. Twitter, Facebook.
Everywhere, really.
Tune in,
Except
Spotify,
Instagram.
and
iTunes.
we're not on Instagram.
No, we're not on
Yeah,
Instagram.
but we are on iTunes.
Spotify, Facebook, and Twitter. Check us out. Give us a like, and you'll always know who's your nerds.